started. It's 9 o'clock and in the US, and it's 6:30 in India. So just want to say welcome to everybody. Our beautiful panelists are ready to go and to answer your wonderful questions. And my name is Kavita Scripsma, and I am the founder and CEO of Seema Global Consulting, founded in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I am excited to be here today. Our organization does transformational coaching, understanding culture workshops, which is workshops that help people promote inclusion by reaching beyond skin color. We're super excited about doing that work and helping folks grow in their space. And I'm also an international speaker and author. I'm excited to share today that partnering with Rowena Phillips and Ajay Phillips, her husband, of Dominion Phillips Consultancy, and we are doing this event as a team so that we can kind of continue to do some of our projects together. Rowena will talk more about that in a few minutes. And just want to welcome everybody. Thank you. Get comfortable. And we'd like to introduce our panelists to you today. We've got 3 beautiful women from India and 3 beautiful ladies from America as well to balance out our whole our panel here. So
welcome Gretchen, Kavita and Lisa from US, and in a short while we'll get to know a little bit more about you. Kavita will share a lot more about your work and your journey. So I am Rowena Phillips, the Director Training and Consulting Psychologist with Dominion Phillips Consultancy, and it's a total pleasure to be here on this forum with our panelists and to partner with Seema Global Consulting. And we're really excited about a lot of projects that we are doing together. Just in brief about what we do is, I have something that I may want to read out to you, and this is our vision, and our vision is always about Dominion Phillips and Seema Consultancy. In fact, both are about people and building people. So if you want to leave a legacy, invest in people, and this is the core vision that drives Dominion Phillips Consultancy. Our vision and passion over the decades has evolved into a business enterprise, and Dominion Phillips Consultancy, which is previously known as Dominion Phillips Educare Private Limited, with Ajay Phillips as founder director and myself as co-founder director. We have designed a lot of workshops that caters to entrepreneurs, leaders, managers, professionals, executives, parents, couples, and students. So our passion is transforming people through developmental process and empowering them through our workshops, in which we use scientific methodology of neurolinguistic programming, cognitive psychology, behavioral science, human potential movement, and principles of management. Therefore, our workshops are highly effective in personal transformation, behavioral change, performance management, healing, and wellness. Since 2014, when we first incorporated Dominion Phillips, we have trained hundreds of participants and provided coaching and psychological consulting now for more than 10,000 individuals. In all this, we find a wonderful partnership with Seema Global Consultancy. Dominion Phillips Consulting believe in synergy and collaboration to build nations at large, and that's how we come into this forum of the global roundtable discussion. And hence we have an association with Seema Global Consultancy to partner together for projects that helps our strategic objectives in academics and learning and development. So we are super excited to move forward with projects that we have together as partners. And this is a wonderful time that we all have you ladies to also inspire all our audience. And let me tell you, our audience are not only women, but we have some very successful men who are there out there to support us and are very curious and to be a part of this. So thanks to all the men as well for joining us.
Mm-hmm. Lots to learn.
So welcome to all my Indian panelists as well. I'll take a quick moment to introduce the Indian panelists. Yeah, so let me talk about Kavita Ghatge, who is an HR advisor and consultant for companies needing guidance on HR related solutions globally. She comes with a profound experience working with reputed multinational companies at senior level management positions. In her 40 years of successful corporate career, she has been associated with reputed brands like Siemens Limited as Executive Vice President and Head of HR South Asia, Pratibha Consulting Limited as Executive Director, Human Resource and Corporate Communications, Hutchison Global Services Private Limited, now Tech Mahindra Business Services, as Senior Vice President, Human Resources and Corporate Communications, Leighton India Contactors Private Limited, President, People and Culture. She has been awarded many prestigious awards during her lifetime and has extensively traveled the globe with an understanding of the dynamics of various cultures. She has been recognized as 101 top HR minds in India for 2018 at the World HR Congress. And let me also share with you that she is a marathon runner. And I've had at some point of time in my career drew inspiration from her, and I've had the privilege of working with her very closely. So Kavita, thank you so much for being here, and it's a real pleasure to have you. I'm sure the audience has a lot to gain from you.
So welcome again to this global roundtable discussion with Rowena Phillips and myself as the hosts. And we are excited to get this time started. So I will just throw out that first question. Yeah, but let me just show out the first question. And feel free to answer it, whoever would like to start. How would you describe your leadership role in the context of which you are living? So for those that are in India and those that are in the US, how would you describe your specific leadership role in the context?
So as Rowena mentioned, I've been in multiple, leadership roles over the last years, and, leadership is really traversing through different kind of, crossroads. And if I was to look at the kind of role that I was hired into in my last organization was really to grow this organization because it was going to go through a, huge transformational change, and they had massive growth plans. So, when I see what has been my role for my team, it's obviously been a little bit more, as even Lisa has said, that more directional, more visionary, coaching and guiding the team, inspiring, and motivating the team that I had. So just let me give you a little example as to how this really, pans out. So when I joined, I had this whole team that was full of energy, young people wanting to, do so many things. But somewhere when I looked into, what was happening, I saw that they were, kind of embroiled into their own past, or prisoners of the past. And I said that this is going to be a big challenge if I have to take forward the agenda for which I was hired, and if, the team has to be in that mindset. So nothing wrong. It was just that perhaps that was the culture of the organization at that point of time. That was, the expectation that was there. And so what I immediately, went up to the CEO. I said, please help me. I'm going to have to do a lot of changes over here and try to get the team to a different level. So it was about transforming the HR team. It was about really, getting business to buy in from, from the old way of handling HR, which is more partnership and advisory rather than, transactional. So what did I do? What I primarily did was first sat down with the team, created a vision. So it's about that forward-looking aspect that we want to have. It was very important that I bring in and build up the team. So which meant that I had to bring in some new fresh blood, infuse new culture into the team. That was extremely important. And then in that team were the managers who kind of did tell the people what to do and how to do. For me, it was more coaching to say why things are being done the way they have to be done. And it was not really giving them the daily operational direction. And of course, once the team had, formed, it was all about motivating and continuing to inspire. So the leadership role that I had was really a little bit more all-encompassing. And I think it took a full year to bring this journey from where we began to where it was. And the team was completely re-energized and, ready to go. So that was my, take on the leadership in the recent past.
I think leadership is incomplete without challenges, and the reason we have leaders here who are successful already and have their stories being shared with us is, I'm sure you've come across the time when you have faced challenges. So my question to the panelists here would be, what challenges do you face or you have faced while being a woman in leadership with regards to your work and your country culture?
Right, so I had a little bit like a similar story as Dipti, and I was, let me put it this way, very fortunate at a very young age. And it was probably my parents, and particularly my father, who instilled this confidence in me at the, at this young tender age, that girls were equally competent. Now, looking at the Indian society of, say, 40 years ago, the whole cultural situation was very, very different, where the boys were given a higher precedence and preference in education and everything. But I think I was very fortunate that my parents gave me this foundation. Now, thereafter, when I went into college and graduated out and I went into taking up my first role, after training, I went into a department which I was being interviewed for, and the manager there said, "Hey, Kavita, do you know that this team is a team of 40 men? And do you think you are ready to, be the only woman in this team of 40 men then?" And I was just about 22 years old at that point of time. And I said, "Yes, I am." And let me tell you, he had confidence and he says, "I want you to prove that you are no less but even better than any of these 30, 40 people over there." And I took that as a kind of a challenge, and that became a motivation that he put forward to me. And later on, he would constantly on and he was not my immediate manager, he was my manager's manager's manager, really at the higher level. So from that leadership point of view, actually came down to give me a lot of guidance, in time. But so this was the positive part of it. And I think I moved pretty well because I never took my job as being different from a man to a woman. A lot is dependent upon us and how do we perceive it. And I said that work is work, irrespective if I'm a girl or boy. And I worked shoulder to shoulder. I would say till the middle senior management level, I had absolutely no problems. Absolutely no problems. There was only 2 instances which I'll maybe narrate to you and give you an illustration as to, from a cultural context, maybe where things could have been different. So when I was to head a particular function of multiple groups, the manager then said that, "You know what, there's person A who's a male from a different cultural background, and that's you who's a female from a different cultural background. Now, do you think that you will be able to lead a team because you may not get the support?" So I only gave my manager then the answer saying that, "Please decide who's fit for the job. If you feel I'm fit for the job, then let me be, handling it. It has nothing to do with culture and gender and, whatever it may be." I think it didn't take me very long to say, "Yes, you're ready for the job," and you get it. But this was the first time where I felt that I was asked that, "Do you think you will be able to do it, being a woman and to be able to lead even men of a different cultural thinking?" So this was one aspect. And the second part, I think that really kind of I experienced was reaching, the glass ceiling. So later on in life, when I was ready to take up a board level position, I went through lots of interviews. Everything was ready in a particular organization. And I think at the end, it was just about, can a woman be in that boardroom to take business decisions with other men who are, really suited and booted? And I could say that there was, and I'm not offending any cultural sensitivities, there was a little bit of to maybe it may not work. And so I did not get that role for that point of time. Anyway, what happened is that things would work out. I moved into different organization, and one of the organizations that I last moved into, I think the leadership was very, very different, was very inclusive, very embracing, and saw within, it was not that I was hired to be taken onto the board, but within, I think, 2 months of my being there, realized that capability is capability, and I was just inducted on the board as a director there. So I didn't even have to ask over there, it just came. So it's really about a bit of conditioning and what's the cultural environment in which organization you are in, how the leaders over there ready to accept you as a woman. And I think I performed equally, and and I continue to advise them till now too, as a board member.
Mm.
So that's my little story here. So both sides, I've seen both the sides of it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That was really powerful.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful, Kavita, because, here we are talking about women in leadership, and you all have walked the path, and, you've kind of taken a breakthrough to the glass ceiling, and there's pathways made for the younger generation to come in, and so many lessons to learn from you. Really, really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing.
As somebody who was born in India but has lived in the West for majority of my life, I can really relate to a lot of the comments that you made, Kavita, in terms of the gender and the roles, and what does that mean for little girls. And I grew up in the era that was different than yours in that case, or in the family culture that was different, in that little girls will not amount to much, and they probably need to fight harder or give up. And so I'm glad I did not give up, but I thank you for your leadership in your space as well. To continue. What would you say to your younger self who wondered about becoming a leader? And with that in mind, how do you grow forward from here as you transition out of the pandemic? So I know it feels a little different in that way, but think of how you might inspire and encourage and maybe even equip somebody to transition out of this pandemic season so that we're staying current and relative, but then also being mindful of how, your own personal journey, the impact of that, and transition as a leader.
First part of the question, in terms of what one would say to oneself, I think one of the things that I, as a leader today, can suggest to the people, and what I have followed, is just one word: is excellence. And and to be able to do the best that you can in whichever situation. So one of the things when we're coming now into the pandemic, and to be an excellent leader, there are many attributes, so we won't just go right now into those. But what I would say that from a pandemic point of view, and one of the things that one leader should also have, is foresight. Anything that you have, you need to plan and have foresight. And it's so important that you do this also in your own personal space. For example, if any of us at any point of time say, from a financial point of view, I must keep an X amount of money in my balance, in my account as a balance, say I lose my job, so maybe it's a 3 months cash flow or whatever it may be that I need to keep, I have to keep. Similarly, even if it means food provisions, you do shopping once in a month, or at least I do shopping once in a month, and say that I have a roll of 1 month. So if you plan in whichever situation for a future, crisis that may come, or not otherwise in terms of normally, I think you are good to go. And as Dr. Dipti said very, very properly, is that you need to be calm. Because if you have all, planned out what you need to do, you don't have to go into this panic that where's the money going to come? I'm not getting my salary. Where's my, the food grain's going to come? And, there are queues and queues of people trying to hoard up stuff. Don't do that. So your normal routine, plan and work through a schedule. For me, it was business as usual at home, because I knew that I didn't want to rush into the stores and buy whatever it may be, because I buy on a month basis. I said, let the month get over and it'll roll over. So keeping calm, I think, is very, very important, and also keeping the family calm, your friends engaged. Family engaged is extremely important in this whole situation. A very other important thing is what we're doing today is managing the change. Had this been pre-pandemic, one would have been in a room talking to each other face to face, but times have changed, technology has changed, and the world has changed, I think, forever. And we have to move with, the situation with technology, and look at what has to be done. Working from home has become now a norm. So I think that's another thing organizations need to do, is to be able to start working on policies that makes this the new normal norm, that's going to be there. I would say managing the pandemic at this time, I think it's a great opportunity, because people have a little bit more, hopefully, time on hand to think, reflect, rather than spending time going to work and coming back. You have that transport time that's available, that's freed up for you, besides maybe doing housework. Think about your next life goals that you want to achieve. Think about what you want to do to upskill yourself. And there's so much out there, and I'm sure a lifetime will not be enough for you to really achieve what you wanted to achieve. And the other thing I would say is it's a great time to talk about social responsibility at this point of time. Reach out to people who need that help. And for example, in my own place where I'm living, there is my immediate neighbor is a 103-year-old lady. What will she do? How will she manage? Her one help could be there. So I'm helping her. I'm giving her food. I'm giving her whatever it be, cooking for her and sending it over. I have another 3 people downstairs, similarly 80 plus. And whenever I do some grocery shopping, I ask them, what do you need? So I can bring it for you. Similarly, another thing as part of CSR would be, look at the animals on the road. So just look at whatever dimension that you want and say, what is it that you can give back to the society that's given you so much? And, come out strong. And there are so many positives that can come out of a crisis and, negatives.
Thank you so much, Kavita. Yes, we are getting those positive perspectives and, looking at a crisis with solutions. I think that's the mindset as leaders we need to adapt. And thank you so much for encouraging. Yes, so we will, in the interest of time, we have a lot of wonderful comments that audience and participants are placing, and that's really encouraging. And such a participative audience. Thank you so much. So I'll straight away move to the first question. We have a couple of questions. We'll see how we can make time to answer some of them, and we'll put it across to all the panelists. Any one of you can take it. So the first one is, what is the women angle of leadership in the gender equation? I'll repeat the question. What is the women angle of leadership in gender equation? We've covered a bit of it, but if somebody wants to reiterate from audience, and it's from Rita Agarwal, she's a known person in Nagpur. So thank you so much for asking that question.
I wonder if we need a little more clarification around that question. I'm thinking maybe if this could be a very uniquely responded, this question could be responded in such a unique way based on each individual person, right? So I think the question is asking from your angle as a woman in leadership, how does that impact the gender equation? Speak to equality, maybe?
Yeah, I think we have covered, Kavita did emphasize a lot on it. In fact, even Dr. Dipti ma'am, that, while we're working with men and we're working with a diverse people, it's not about gender. It's about how you remove the biases and how you, in women as leadership, work with men as well. I think that would be something that I would want to put across to the question as an answer. Well, and very well said.
Yep. And can I just combine one of the other questions that came from the group that might actually help ask this differently as well, or it kind of combines the two? Somebody in the group had asked about gender bias and perhaps what are some things we can do going forward to change and to help change bias. They were talking about blind hiring. Is that something that might help us down the line to not, differentiate between, is this a woman, is this a man, that kind of thing? And so maybe thinking about something like that, does it, is there a promotion to level the playing field? Is there a way to do that through blind hiring? Can we talk a little bit more about that? Maybe for those of you that are in the HR arena might be able to answer that a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, Kavita, you want to?
Yeah. Sure. So typically organizations do have targets and do have, plans that when they go out into campuses, others are hiring, there is a certain percentage. Now, for example, in India, women in although we would have typically in different sectors have different percentage of women, work in the workforce. I've worked in, say, an engineering firm right through my life, and the women force was only at 17% at best. And that's really, really a low percentage. So one of the things that we did was put clear targets to say that every department, whenever it's going to hire, should have at least a certain number of women on merit. It's not that you're just hiring because you have to hire women, but you can go out there and really search and find the good women and try to get this ratio moving up percentage by percentage. And eventually, you can't reach that 50% right away, but it's a journey and you have to start setting the targets at the time of hiring. And yes, this is one of the ways to also look at it. And we were, given clear our incentives also based on, are you able to manage that target or not?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kavita. We have another question, I think, from one of the male participants. And what is mentioned here is, do you have at any point of time thought in your mind that if you were a male during your leadership journey? So men are curious about, did this thought ever pop into your head? Anytime, anybody?
Happy being a woman.
Happy being a woman. Okay, yeah, you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Next question by Dr. Hari Prasad. He has asked 2 questions. Let me go with the first one. Given the measures and changes happening to empower women across the world in recent years, so you foresee a change in the trend of gender bias over the next 10 and 20 years? I think Kavita did answer this question to a large extent, but I'll also put up the second question. Specifically, it's mentioned to Gretchen and Kavita. The figures quoted by Dr. Angelina are grim. If you were in the HR leaders of the world, what is one measure you will introduce to change this bias, particularly to the HR fraternity?
So I can just give one in the thought over here, is I think there's a lot of training that needs to be, pushed through the organization at all levels to look at this unconscious bias and to have this removed. And once, we are at a level playing field, you can say at a psychological level, and appreciate that there are no differences, the whole thing will change. But it is not easy, because to change mindsets is a long journey, but organizations have started it. It's going to take time, but eventually we have to get there. But it's really about being inclusive, bringing, this diversity in, and, just trying to have the best that you have out there in terms of capability, and 50% lies in women there too. So it's really about getting that mind to think differently.
Kenita, we have next one question from David Rawl. You want to read it, or you want me to?
Yeah, I could do that. I didn't put their names down, so I'm just kind of going back here. There's a question being asked about vulnerability and strength, and how as women working from home, which is actually you're at home trying to work. And so in terms of vulnerability and strength, is it any different in the workspace versus being at home for you? Have you noticed a difference in being, is it harder? Is it more intense, I mean?
So I think leadership is, it's not about a title or designation, it's really about the impact that one makes on others, the influence that we have, and the inspiration that we, imbibe into the other people. It's about, having self-respect. It's having respect for others, and also taking complete responsibility for all actions. I think that's what leadership is all about.
Thank you, Kavita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kavita. We had truly a wonderful, inspirational time, and we are going back with so many reflections. We've made notes, and I'm sure the participants have shared a lot of their insight, and it's truly been a small place, but we've had so many inspirational statements and thoughts and secrets, I would say, from all the powerful women panelists here. So I thank each one of you. Thank you so much, Kavita, Tabitha, Dr. Angelina, Dr. Dipti, Gretchen, Lisa. Thank you so much for being there, taking the time out, and encouraging everybody. And for all the participants, thank you so much. Would be incomplete without your enthusiastic participation. We have also shared the panelist email addresses, so you can reach out to them in case you have any questions or on a professional front. If you want more information, we've shared our website address. That's www.dominionphillips.com and seemaglobalconsulting.com as well. We have Kinita, who has shared her email address, and then yes, we have my email address as well. So you can keep your connections and keep talking to us. So thank you so much, and stay safe, stay healthy.